The New Collegiate Dictionary defines Anglophilia as having a strong liking or preference for England or English ways. Anglophilia is especially important in post-colonial literature because of the English's role as colonizers. In novels, Anglophilia is often a significant theme or source of conflict. Characters frequently show some level of admiration or fascination with English culture. Anglophiles believe that the English language is the best, even if it's not their first language. They think English is connected to being modern and having freedom. In a book called Anglomania, Ian Buruma says that many people find English very captivating. This makes learning and using English important. For these people, knowing how to speak English well is seen as a sign of being educated and refined. It's also necessary if you want to understand English books. They believe that English is the main way to do well and achieve things. People all over the world really like Shakespeare, but some people, called Anglophiles, love him even more. They admire him so much that they have a special kind of love for him, called Shakespearomania. Shakespeare is super popular in countries like Japan and India. According to Ian Buruma, a writer, the most important thing that Shakespearomania brought was not politics, but something very beautiful. A special love and a way of writing that is incredibly pretty. In his travel book, Nikos Kazantzakis talks about what makes people love England so much, and one big reason is Shakespeare. People in England really see themselves in Shakespeare's works. They even treat the collected works of Shakespeare with as much respect as they do the Bible. People who really love England also really love English books. They like love stories from England, as well as books about science and philosophy. This includes ideas like Newtonian science, British laws, deism, and Freemasonry. Kazantzakis believes that England gave birth to the concept of the gentleman. This person is easygoing around others and makes others feel comfortable too. They find a good balance between being passionate and disciplined. This quality is admired both in England and around the world. In a book by John Useem and Ruth Hill Useem called The Western Educated Man in India, they say that people who really like England are drawn to 4 qualities of the British gentleman. These are being honest, having self-control, being helpful, and being very thorough. Even though other countries could have people like this, Anglophiles see these qualities as typically English. Thomas Arnold, a headmaster from the Netherlands who taught boys, once said that an English gentleman is a better example of a good person than you could find in any other country. Kazantzakis believes that one big reason why people from other countries really like England is because of its strong belief in freedom. Anglophiles like Hippolyte Taine, Alexis de Tocqueville, and Giuseppe Mazzini were drawn to the idea of freedom. Hitchens. Voltaire, for example, was really impressed by England's way of doing politics, its freedom, logical thinking, and sense of fairness, according to Bruce W. Nealon in his review of Anglomania. Lots of people who really like England hope that their own governments can learn from England, especially when it comes to freedom. It's not surprising that countries once ruled by Britain have a strong interest in Anglophilia, with many people who really like England. J.C. Heasterman in The Inner Conflict of Tradition points out that the ideas of expansion and reaction naturally go together. In the case of India, Heasterman asks about the Indian reaction to British control, which often included a deep respect for British ideals. 158. England was successful in spreading its values, types of government, and ways of life in its colonies. G.T. Garrett, looking at India's history under British rule, says that England had a lot of chances to influence how people felt about England and increase their Anglophilia. Heasterman adds that Western expansion allowed Indian society to try to achieve ideals they hadn't been able to before. Education played a big role in England fostering Anglophilia in its former colonies. According to studies by UCEM, foreign education aimed to introduce Western ideas, methods, and technology to underdeveloped countries. When people from these countries went abroad for education and then came back, they brought back new ways of thinking, which could lead to a love for England. The English language is crucial in fostering Anglophilia in former colonies. Many times, being able to speak English is seen as a big accomplishment. In some places, not wanting to learn English or preferring to speak another language can have serious consequences. This has led to debates and discussions about the dominance of the English language. As Niall Ferguson points out, some people naturally love England, some grow to love it, and some are kind of forced to love it. In postcolonial literature, you can see examples of Anglophilia. These writings, often in English, show the conflicts and tensions between different cultures in countries with a history of British domination.